You might be able to see a small layer of grease around that gasket where it connects right there. And you don't want to over torque that, so just use your hands to tighten that up, because you don't want the gasket to be overly compressed. You just want it enough to where it's going to not let the gas leak out, of course. And, you know, make sure you're wearing gloves. To mount it, you just have a little nut right there, and then over here you have a screw in there. Now that is kind of a weird placing. These are 10mm, by the way, so you can use this to get it started. So you just have the screw on the end of this and stick it in there and then get it started. Most of you guys probably already have one of these magnetic little deals, but they come in handy for a lot of stuff, not just for retrieving, you know, tight spaces, but it's also for starting a screw. Alright, so 10mm, we're just going to tighten them all down a little bit. Okay, so you'll notice that the hose, the fuel line is back on there. You might need to move the air box out of the way. It's just a couple of Phillips head screws. You can just pull it off. It just gives you some room to kind of get in there and you know, move the clamp back on. That's all you really need is a clamp. I did put a tiny bit of this, like I said earlier, the adhesive / gasket maker just on like the left side, because I couldn't really get to it on the right side. And then, you know, the clamp is going to do the job though for the most part. Alright, so that fixed number 1 problem earlier with the fuel tank nipple, but number 2 problem is this valve here on the carburetor. So the carburetor is pretty easy to take off. It's just this bolt here that comes off, and I just put it back on right now because I was testing something, but that would be off, and it holds this on. Then you just slide the carburetor off, and you just have to undo a little spring that attaches right here. It's like a little metal rod and a spring. You just got to put those back on when you put it back together. Anyway, use brake clean with the straw to get inside the valve here, because then the gas comes out of this that hole right there where that spring thing is. So you can pull that out by that little head right there. Just use some pliers and pull it out, and then you're just gonna shoot the brake cleaner in that hole there where the spring goes in, and then back here. And you want to keep doing both sides until you see the flow coming out strong. So there was just like gummed up gas, old gas in there, and it was blocking the flow. So the carburetor wasn't getting any gas into it. That would be a problem. So hopefully this is the last step now that we've got this cleaned out, and we'll see.